my name is Blue, and today we are here for another episode of Brews. And this is a deck that I've been super excited about for the past few days since I started messing around with it. I actually kind of forgot about this deck for a long time, and I remembered it going through some old Kaladesh stuff that I have in my collection, and it reminded me of this deck, and I wanted to go over it. I wanted to play some games with it, because this is a deck that I did very well with back when it was standard legal. I'm sure it's trash now in the Pioneer format, but whatever. I wanted to play it. It's been a really long time since I played this deck, and I have fond memories with this deck, considering that I won several, semi-decent decently sized tournaments with it back in Kaladesh Standard. So we're going to go over the deck, we're going to talk about it, we're going to play some games, we're going to have some fun. So, first of all, let's go over the primary combo of this deck. If you've never heard of Gruul Pummeler, it's a really cool deck. I love this deck. And as far as aggro decks and slash combo decks go, this is one of my favorite ones. So, before we get into it, if you like the channel and you like everything else we do, if you like Brews, if you like other stuff that we do here, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, give us a like, and hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever new videos go out. So, let's jump into the deck. First of all, let's go over the primary combo of this deck. If you've never heard of Pummeler, it's a really cool card. Electrostatic Pummeler, 3-mana artifact creature, 1/1. When it enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy. Then you can pay 3 energy to double its power, basically. So, what's really neat about Electrostatic Pummeler is that if you can grow its power naturally through other effects, then you're not just doubling its power as a 1/1, you're doubling its power from wherever it is whenever you do stuff. So, the other combo piece of this deck is Collision Colossus. Back in Standard, this was larger than life. Maybe there's an image on the screen. Who knows? It's up to the editor. Anyway, so Collision Colossus, target creature gets +4/2 and gains trample until end of turn at instant speed. That's the half of this we care about. Collision has some applications, destroying Heart of Kirans and other flying creatures that we may want to deal with, but primary purposes of this is just as a pump spell. So, it gives it +4 power, which is a really important number. So we can Colossus onto Electrostatic Pummeler, and that will make Pummeler a 5/3. Then we can spend 3 energy to make it a 10/8, and then we can pay 3 more energy to make it a 20/18, which is a really good thing, and it has trample because Colossus for some reason gives it trample. So as early as turn 4, we can have a 20 power attacking, trampling Electrostatic Pummeler between Pummeler and Colossus. And I'm really excited for that. I really hope we pull it off. I did it so many times when this was in Standard, and it won me a couple of events, and I want to do it again. So that's the main reason we're playing this deck. Next up, let's go over some protection. We've got 4 Blossoming Defense. This is mostly just to be able to protect our Electrostatic Pummeler on turn 4 when we go to play our combo. If we can play Pummeler on turn 3, and then turn 4 we can not larger than life, Collision Colossus onto it, then that will allow us to still have 2 mana left over, so we can still Blossoming Defense if we need to protect it. The other protection spell here is Rhythm of the Wild. It's not really a protection spell. It's more just creature spells you control can't be countered, which is the important text on that. The other super important text is the non-creatures you control have Riot. Non-token creatures, I'm sorry. So, this is a way that we can play Rhythm of the Wilds on turn 3, and then every subsequent turn, we can just threaten slamming an Electrostatic Pummeler and then slamming Colossus onto it, and it has haste, and we can just get in immediately because of Rhythm of the Wilds. This is one of the new additions since this deck was standard legal. Back then, Rhythm of the Wilds didn't exist, and so I don't remember what I played instead. But anyway, yeah, so Rhythm of the Wild used to be something, I don't remember. But, yeah, we're playing it now as a haste enabler to be able to get in with Electrostatic Pummeler as early as turn 4, 5 to just be able to kill the opponent. It doesn't enable us to win any quicker than we normally would, but it does enable us to win the turn Pummeler comes down, and that's what's important about it. Next, we have some enablers. Attune with Aether just gets us a land out of our deck, and it finds us and it gets us 2 more energy. So we can play this on turn 1, go get a land. We don't have a whole lot of turn 1 plays. I think this is our only turn 1 play, actually. So we can attune with Aether on turn 1 to go get another land out of our deck, thin the deck a little bit, and get a couple energy, which can help us fuel our Pummeler, and then everything we're going to talk about in this category here. Then we have some Servant of the Conduits. A little bit of ramp also gives us some energy. So it serves double duty. It allows us to play Pummeler on 3 and protect it in the same turn with Blossoming Defense, but it also gets us 2 energy, so it gets us up to that 6 energy threshold where we need to be for Pummeler to win the game. Next, we have some backup plans. We have three different creatures here in our backup plans. We have 4 Long Tusk Cub. It's a 2-mana 2/2. When it deals combat damage, we get 2 energy, and then we can pay 2 energy to put a +1/+1 counter on it. This card was a powerhouse when it was in Standard because every single turn you basically put at least 1 counter on it. Like a Tune with Aether basically translates to go get a land out of your deck, put a +1/+1 counter on Long Tusk Cub if we want to. So there's a lot of really good synergy with Long Tusk Cub in the deck, on top of the fact that it can also just be a really strong threat over the course of the game if our opponent can't kill it. It does die to Fatal Push, so sometimes we'll just dump all of our energy into it and then it dies, but you know, that's what happens whenever you're playing a deck like this. So there is risk to it, whatever. Next, we have Voltaic Brawler, probably the better of the backup plans. Long Tusk Cub is a good long game threat. Voltaic Brawler is a good short game threat because we can play it on turn 2 and then on turn 3 it's already a 4/3 attacker with trample. So it's really strong and it helps us get in for damage immediately and just immediately start killing our opponent. Lastly, we have 4 Bristling Hydras. This is probably the best non-pummeler card in the deck. 4 mana 4/3. When it enters, we get 3 energy, and then we can pay 3 energy to put a +1/+1 counter on it and give it hexproof until end of turn. This is really strong against control and decks that are relying on spot removal to be able to win the game. So things like blue-black control that don't play a lot of wraths, and if they do, it's Ritual of Soot and or Languish, both of which Bristling Hydra can survive. It dodges Ritual of Soot naturally, and 2 activations it can dodge Languish. So Bristling Hydra is really strong. It does die to other things like Supreme Verdict and things like that that are in like blue-white and things like that. But we have stuff for that in the sideboard, so we'll get to that later. But Bristling Hydra is really strong against spot removal, and honestly, this was almost a Giganta deck because everything in the deck except for Bristling Hydra, even the entire sideboard, meets Giganta's requirement. But Bristling Hydra is just such a good card that I couldn't justify playing Giganta as a companion if it meant cutting Bristling Hydra. I really, really wanted to do Giganta because Companion is a really strong ability. Even with the nerf, just having an extra card in your opening hand is really strong. But Bristling Hydra just was too good to not have in the main deck. Lastly, some Harness Lightnings as a little bit of removal. Choose target creature, you get 3 energy, then you can pay any amount of energy, and Harness Lightning deals that much damage to that creature. So Harness Lightning is just a little bit of removal. If you noticed, I'm not playing Greenbelt Rampager. It was a card that I originally had in the list. When I was playing the Giganta build, I didn't have Bristling Hydras. Instead, I had the Greenbelt Rampagers, and they just weren't doing it for me. Like, sometimes I'd have cool turn 2s where I'd play a Tune with Aether on turn 1, turn 2 Rampager, and then I'd have a 3/4 on turn 2, but it just felt really bad. It didn't feel good enough. So I ended up cutting the Rampagers, brought Bristling Hydra in, and the deck feels so much better now. I don't expect this deck to be good. I don't expect us to win many games, but I'm really hoping that we get to at least do the whole Pummeler combo at least once throughout our game. So this feels kind of like a little bit of jank, but this was a real deck a couple years ago in Standard, so we'll see how it goes. Sideboard-wise, this is kind of all over the place, but some of these stuff is meta-call, so we'll see. 3 Pithing Needle. This is mostly our answer for Mono Green Planeswalkers, which is a huge deck at the moment, probably the first or second best deck in the format at the moment. So this lets us, it comes down, it can name a Planeswalker, keep it from doing stuff, turns off Nissas, turns off Karns, turns off Vivians, and turns off all that stuff that we really don't want to deal with or we have a difficult time dealing with. So Pithing Needle, really good against all that. Cindervines and Abrades answer artifacts and enchantments. Abrade has a little bit of utility as well, being able to work as removal for creatures. Cindervines also able to punish control decks if they can't get this off the battlefield. Over the course of the game, as they're casting spells, they will eventually die to Cindervines, so that just gives us a small little backup plan against control. Klothys for those mid-range, grindy control matches. We can bring it in, and we can just start using it to eat away at the graveyard. We can use it as ramp whenever we need it to be ramp, but for the most part, we're going to be using it to deal damage to to our opponent. Like, we get to mini Lightning Helix our opponent every single turn, keep their graveyard empty so they can't dig through time, or flip Search for Risconta if people still play that, things like that. So Klothys has a lot of value in this deck, I think. So I really like Klothys in the sideboard, and sometimes it just has applications where we can start amassing our devotion to Klothys is turned on really quickly, and we can just kill our opponent super fast. Scavenging Ooze is a little bit of additional graveyard hate. Klothys is also graveyard hate, so sometimes we bring it in against graveyard decks, but this is mostly for mid-range and grindy control decks. Scavenging Ooze, definitely for graveyard hate. Sometimes I bring it in against mono red just to have a little bit of life gain, because we don't have life gain anywhere else in the deck. So I like having Scavenging Ooze in mono red just for that. Lastly, we have a little bit of additional removal. We have Lava Coils to be able to answer with bigger things and exile things if we need to, and then a couple fries for Blue-White Spirits and other matches like that, like Blue-White Control, get rid of fairies and stuff like that. This is mostly for Spirits, however, because Blue-White Spirits is probably the third or fourth best deck in the format as of the time of this video. So I really like having access to Fry. I like having access to Pithing Needle just for those two top decks in the format that are really good and we have a difficult time answering. We can also bring in Pithing Needle against like Blue-White Control to name Teferis if we can't get them off the battlefield with Fries and things like that. So just a lot of solid answers for a lot of solid things, and that's the deck. I really hope you enjoy Gruul Pummeler as we go through these games. Another quick reminder, if you like what we do here, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever new videos come up. Anyway, that's all from me for now. I will see you in a bit in the games. Alright, finally starting a game. Here we are, against White Lotus. Okay, so... So, funny story about White Lotus. I don't know if our opponent is relevant to this at all. Oh god, this hand. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to get punished for this keep, but I'm going to keep it. Anyway, so I don't know if it's relevant to our opponent at all, but a while back, myself and Brandon, another member of the Oracle team, we were talking about how to make white better, and like a card came up. Ooh, we drew the Pummeler, and we have Collision Colossus already. Okay, so I'm very glad I kept this hand. So we were talking about how to make white better, and White Lotus was a card that we discussed as a possibility. So yeah, opponent's gonna opt. I don't know what our opponent's doing yet. So yeah, White Lotus is just like something a little bit funny that we talked about. Drown Secrets. Are they mill? Like, are they milling us, or are they dredge milling themselves? Voltaic Brawler's not bad. I will Stomping Grounds, untapped, play Voltaic Brawler. Hopefully my opponent taps out here so I can resolve Pummeler. Okay, so they are definitely mill. They are not... dredge. That's fine. That's fine. We already have our combo in hand, so as long as our combo resolves and doesn't die, we should be okay. Alright, so we drew a game trail. Okay, we played the Stomping Grounds they knew about. Okay. So, oh no! I'm so bad at this game. I accidentally passed through combat. Let's game trail, reveal the forest that they know about, and get down Pummeler. Hopefully our opponent's not playing removal. Because if they're not, we just win the game next turn. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent's going to mill us. That's fine. That's over there in the corner. Chewing on a bag. I don't know what she's chewing on. Okay, take inventory. That is the... Okay, so our opponent should be playing Frantic Inventory. I'm not sure why they're not. Maybe it's a budget choice, but they're both common, so I don't know why they're playing Take Inventory. Opponent's going to opt. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so it looks like our opponent is just going to keep milling us, and then we get to untap and win the game. Oh, we got to do it. Please. Okay, island. Tap out. Oh no, they're not going to tap out. Ugh. Okay, untap. It's fine. We'll be fine. Aether Hub, so we have another energy. Then let's go to combat. I'm going to go for it here. I'm not afraid. Yep, let's pay the energy. Okay, let's wait until no blocks are declared in case they have shenanigans. Colossus? Did we do it? Ah! We did it! Ah! We got there! Oh man. Okay, so opponent's playing a lot of enchantments, so we're gonna bring in Cinder Vines, and they don't seem to have a ton of removal, so I think I'm gonna bring in Scavenging Ooze as well. This is mostly just so as the game goes along, if our opponent doesn't kill us quickly enough, Scavenging Ooze can also kill our opponent since they're filling our graveyard for us. I also think I want to bring in Clothis for the same reason. They're not playing any. I don't imagine they're going to be playing any removal. So I'm going to go down the Blossoming Defenses because I don't want them in this matchup. And let's go down. Let's go down to Bristling Hydra for the same reason. They're not going to be playing a ton of removal, if any. So let's just go down Bristling Hydra. Go down the Blossoming Defenses. My cat is still in the corner playing with something, and I don't know where she is to go stop her. Okay, this hand. I like this hand. I'm going to keep this hand. This hand is bad now that I look at it. It's fine, though. So I don't imagine our opponent is ever going to tap out, ever. Okay, let's play the mountain, pass the turn. I hate that we have both of our mountains in our hand, and we drew another Collision Colossus. So the good news is, if we ever draw a Pummeler, we just win. Okay, there's a forest. Let's get down the forest and Voltaic Brawler. Get some energy. Pass the turn. Alright, opponent is going to Tutelage. Okay, so opponent's doing stuff, a lot of the same stuff they did last turn, or last game. Turn 2 Drown Secrets into turn 3 Sphinx's Tutelage. That's not a bad draw. I am going to wait on it, however, and get down Rhythm of the Wilds so our stuff can't be countered. Attack. Yes, and I will pay. Put the opponent down to 16. Hopefully this Voltaic Brawler can get there. I wouldn't mind like a Bristling Hydra off the top either. Okay, opponent's going to keep milling us. We have another land, so once we get to 4 mana, we should be good. Wow, this is almost card for card last game. Turn 2 Drown Secrets, turn 3 Tutelage. The only thing that's missing is the turn 3 Opt and the turn 1 Opt. Alright, so let's play the forest, go to combat, and attack. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to do this and hit our opponent for 12, down to 4. And we have another one in hand. I'm having so much fun over here. Opponent, 4 mana, Jace's Sanctum. Okay, so they're definitely playing some jank. Oh, thank you, Rabbit, for bringing me the trash you've been playing with for 10 minutes. Merfolk Secret Keeper. They're going to mill me for, what, 10 cards here? And then I win? Oh, our poor opponent. We're just gonna... Oh, we don't have any energy. Oh well, whatever. Alright. Give it haste. Get the energy. Our opponent's gonna thankfully sit it out, so we're gonna go to combat. Attack. No, I will not pay, because I want to do the Pummeler thing. They're going to block Pummeler, so I will Colossus Pummeler. This isn't correct, I don't think, but, you know. Yeah, we got there! Alright, sweet! Sweet. Alright, match 2 with Sever Myself. I think that's our opponent's name. I like this hand. We have Attune with Aether to go get more stuff. We have Voltaic Brawler. This is a good hand. I'm going to keep it. Voltaic Brawler is a really good backup threat that I enjoy very much in this deck. We also have Harness Lightning as a removal and Blossoming Defense for a little bit of protection. Opponent's going to play a Temple of Triumph. I don't know what Temple of Triumph means in this format. In Modern, when you see Temple of Triumph, that's usually Boros Prison or something like that. And we drew the Pummeler, which is nice. And my keyboard doesn't want to work, so I can reply to my opponent. Sweet. Thanks, keyboard. Alright, let's start with Game Trail, reveal the forest, and Attune with Aether. Let's get a mountain, just so we have even mana. We drew the Pummeler too as well, so that means that if we ever draw Collision Colossus, we can just like win the game. So, opponents, Birth of Meletis. Okay, so this does look like Boros Prison or something, but I don't know what prison pieces exist in Pioneer. Rebound Crag's not bad to have. Let's play the Forest that they know about, and let's get down Voltaic Brawler. Ugh. Alright, next turn we can run out another Brawler and hold up Blossoming Defense to protect it. Opponent plays another Plains that we knew about. Deafening... Alright, opponent runs out a Deafening Clarion to get rid of our Pummeler. Rootbound Crag's not bad. Or, Long Tusk Cub isn't bad. I was looking at the Rootbound Crag when I said that. Okay, so I guess the question is... I don't think I want to run out... Yeah, I'm not going to run out Pummeler just yet. I'm going to Voltaic Brawler first and pass the turn. This way, I can protect this with Blossoming Defense if I want to. Opponent's going to gain a couple life. See, our opponent gaining life here is really annoying. Because our combo deals exactly 20 damage, not 22. So we do need to get in for a few additional points of damage if we want to kill our opponent now. Another Deafening Clarion. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Opponent's going to keep getting rid of our Voltaic Brawlers. That's fine. I love that our opponent is using Sweepers to just get rid of Brawlers here, though. That's pretty... Ooh. That's a good hit. Let's just Pummeler and pass the turn. We are up to 9 energy. So I feel like we're in a good spot here. I do like having Bristling Hydra here, however. I'm going to wait on the Hydra, though, because... let's see what the opponent does. Gideon. Okay. Opponent's going to make a Knight. Okay, so opponent might just be Boros Super Friends or something, and they have a lot of, like, Birth of Meletis and stuff like that to protect themselves. Okay, so we'll untap. Collision Colossus? Nope. Drat. Okay. Whatever. Let's... Let's Bristles. Bristle. Pass the turn. No attacks. We're not going to slam our 1-1 into a 0-4 and a 2-2. Bristling Hydra is really good, though. We're up to 12 energy. We can protect Bristles 4 times, and that's not counting any other energy we'll get throughout the game. Like these 2 Harness Lightnings in our hand. I don't like that we can't protect Pummeler anymore, but like we don't have Blossoming Defense up this turn. So let's get rid of this Mountain, by the way. They already know about it. We already played it. Sacred Foundry tap for the opponent. They only have 2 cards in hand. That is a Heart of Kirin. We can kill that with Harness Lightning. It also dies to Collision from Collision Colossus, so opponent's just going to keep making Knights with Gideon here. 1 card in hand. I don't imagine they're going to get in with their Knight because it dies to Bristles. Okay, we will untap. What do we draw? Another Pummeler. Okay, so I'm just going to Long Tusk Cub and pass the turn. Hopefully, my opponent tries to just turn on Heart of Kirin with Gideon, maybe? I don't know. We'll see what our opponent does. Let's see. Yeah, Gideon's a really strong card. And our opponent started building their defenses before we could really do anything. Ugh, another Deafening Clarion. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so do Bristling Hydra to make it a 4-4 so it stays alive. Opponent had 3 Deafening Clarions and 13 cards. That's absurd. Okay, then let's... Yeah. Let's go to 5 energy to protect our Long Tusk Cub as well. We lose our Pummeler. I'm okay with that because I have another one in hand. That happens. Our Bristles and Long Tusk Cub are still alive. Gideon makes another knight. Do they turn on Heart of Kirin? Gideon Blackblade, okay. His opponent just Gideon Tribal or something? Okay, so they're going to Gruul Heart of Kirin that way, okay. Okay, and then I will Harnessed Lightning the Heart of Kirin to, yep, get rid of it. Go back down to 4 energy. Alright. Let's untap. Good draw, please. Good draw, good draw, good draw. That's a good draw. Alright, so I'm just going to get down another Pummeler here. Go to 7 energy. And start attacking. Attack our opponent. I'm not too worried about these Gideons. I'm just trying to pressure my opponent's life total a bit. Get more creatures off the battlefield. Opponent needs something really good here. Because we drew the Collision Colossus, so we're in a good spot now. They have nothing on board for this Gideon. Okay. And we have the Blossoming Defense in hand, so if they have removal, we can protect our Pummeler here. I think we're good. The only thing that would get us is if they have another like Deafening Clarion or something. But if they did, they wouldn't have made this knight first. Oh, they gave it Indestructible, so maybe they do. That's okay. ECD. We can Blossoming Defense that. Okay, Blossoming Defense, so we don't have to spend our energy. Okay, we should be good now. Okay. Opponent. They should attack. Yeah, they're going to attack. Yep. I'm not sure why our opponent didn't try to go after Pummeler. I mean, we had the Blossoming Defense either way. But we can just give this Hexproof, so they probably should have just gone after the Pummeler. Okay, so let's go to combat. Attack everything at our opponent. Okay. Opponent. I mean, they should block. But then the question is, where do they block? We have the Colossus. They have no cards in hand. We have the game. Okay, cool. So we will Colossus Pummeler. Pump it. Pump it. Win the game. We got there! Ha! Okay. Go to sideboards. Bring in 3 Pithing Needles because our opponent's playing a lot of Planeswalkers. Let's bring in Clothis, I think, because this is probably going to be a grindy matchup. And let's bring in the Fries as well because they do kill Gideons. And I think that's it. Opponent is playing some number of removal, so I do want to keep my Blossoming Defenses and Bristling Hydras for this matchup. Let's go down Harness Lightnings, I think. I don't think they're going to do a whole lot against our opponent's Planeswalker heavy deck, so let's just rely on the Fries here. No, let's keep a couple Harness Lightnings. They do have Heart of Kirins. Let's go down a Long Tusk Cub. Let's go down a Servant of the Conduit, a Tune with Aether. We're on the draw here. Let's also go down a Brawler and Rhythm of the Wilds is really good though. Let's go down a Collision Colossus, I think. Let's weaken the combo a little bit by going down. I just realized our opponent responded to us. God, that deck is so scary. I love this hand. I'm gonna keep it. Alright. Opponent passes the turn. We will F8. Untap land. Okay. Aether Hub's fine. I don't like playing it on turn 1 to attune with Aether, because then we have to spend the energy immediately, which isn't ideal. But it's fine. Let's go get a Forest. I also like that we drew a Servant of the Conduit as well. Alright, let's pop out the Graveyards, the Revealed Zone, because I like to have those popped out. Opponent plays a Clifftop Retreat, and Birth of Melitus gets a Plains. And we draw... Ooh, we drew the Pummeler. Oh, man. Get that down. Let's Servant of the Conduit. Oh, come on. My mouse isn't working. Servant of the Conduit. So now if we draw Blossoming Defense, we can play Pummeler next turn and protect it with Servant of the Conduit. This is what I was talking about in the deck tech, where if we're in this situation, we can play Servant on 2 to have mana open on 3 to also protect Pummeler. I don't like that our opponent has all these 0/4s because it's going to make it more difficult to win the game immediately. But we should be okay. Our opponent could also just have a sweeper and then we're in trouble, but then we have Long Tusk Cub in our hand as a backup plan. So Rhythm of the Wilds was a really good top deck. So let's get down Rhythm of the Wilds first to give haste and pass the turn. No attacks. They'll just block it. I like how our Servant of the Conduit has haste, or Riot, even though it's already on the battlefield. Rhythm of the Wild is such an interesting card with how it interacts with stuff. Opponent's going to make another defender, make more walls. Gain a bit of life. They get to gain more life next turn too, so opponent's going to pass. We will untap. And what do we draw? I expect my opponent to have something like Wear Tear in their deck, because they're Boros, Wear Tear is legal in the format. Silence. Interesting. Sure. Oh, man. Sure, opponent. You get to silence us. Oh, man. Sure. I didn't want to do anything this turn anyway. Oh, man. Sure. Whatever. That silence basically reads 1 mana, take an extra turn. That's so annoying. Oh, man. Alright, opponent's going to Ixalan's Binding. Okay. So what are they going to bind? Are they going to bind my Servant or the Rhythm of the Wilds? They're going to get rid of the Rhythm of the Wilds. Okay. Luckily, we only have 2 in the deck, so that's not that detrimental unless we top deck the second one here. Does our opponent have another silence? It looks like they do. Okay, they don't. Great. Let's... Let's Long Tusk Cub. Yeah, let's Long Tusk Cub. And... we'll take Brawler. Pass the turn. I want to force my opponent to use a little bit more of their removal before I slam down this Electrostatic Pummeler. Plus, I want to try and fight through these walls a little bit before I try to go for the combo kill. I do need to get them off the battlefield because I can't combo kill them with the 0/4s on the battlefield. They're already at 24, so that's like... Okay, there's the Clarion. Okay, so let's... Pump. Keep the Long Tusk Cub alive. Because the Long Tusk Cub is my backup plan here. I don't mind my Brawler dying. I would have liked to keep it, but Long Tusk Cub is a better late game threat, I think. Let's untap. I am upset we haven't seen any sideboard cards. That's a fry. That's a sideboard card that doesn't do anything. All right, so let's just go to combat and attack for 4. See if our opponent decides to block or not. Get in. We sadly don't have a Blossoming Defense to protect this Long Tusk Cub. Okay, so they're gonna block. They're gonna double block. Okay. So do I want a Colossus here, just to get both of these off the battlefield? No, I don't. I do not. We will pass the turn. I could have, if I wanted to, just to get both of them off the battlefield. That's a Heart of Kirin. That dies to Harness Lightning and Collision Colossus, so pithy. Sure, I will put another counter on Long Tusk Cub. Let's see if what they name with that needle. Let's get rid of this Plains. I'm sure they've already played it. So, opponent brought in their own Pithing Needles, which is interesting. I wonder what they're going to name. Do they name Long Tusk Cub that's on the battlefield or the Pummeler that's in our hand? They name Bristling Hydra. Interesting. So, opponent's scared of Bristling Hydra. Did I bring in the Abrades? I did not. I didn't bring in the Cindervines either. I probably should have with Heart of Kirin's. So if we go to a game 3, I'm going to bring in the Cindervines because that also blows up Ixalan's Binding. We drew a land. Play the land. Let's go to combat. Attack. Opponent blocks. Okay. Let's run out another Long Tusk Cub and pass the turn. I probably should have tapped one of these Aether Hubs considering I'm out of energy, but it's fine. Opponent, let's see what they do here. They have a lot of mana. They're up to 6 mana here. It is turn 8, however, so I guess they've been missing land drops. Shatter the Sky. Okay. That draws us a card. Draws us a Harness Lightning. Opponent's used up 2 removal spells now, though, so we will untap. We draw another Fry. Well, I got a Pummeler here. Whoops. Let's, undo. Let's use these Aether Hubs, since we don't have any energy to tap them for mana anyway. Pass the turn. And depending on what our opponent does here, I might just fire off this Harness Lightning to get up to 6 energy. I don't have a protection spell for it, though. Opponent doesn't have anything on board, so I'm going to Harness Lightning for 0 just to go to 6 energy and untap. Okay. So let's Harness Lightning again for 0. And Collision Colossus. All in response to the silence. Okay, so I guess the question now is, can you kill our Pummeler? Because that's a 40 power attacker. Oof. And we got there! Alright. Opponent was very sportsman about that. I'm very glad they... I'm very glad they let us play that out, because I was so excited to do that. Oh man, this is what I miss about this deck. I really, really wish this deck was standard legal again, because it was so good back then. I won at least 2 somewhat large events with this deck, and it was really strong. I loved it. Alright. Jumped into another game against Normac 11. Alright, we lost the die roll, so we're on the draw here. I like this hand. We don't have any threats, but we have multiple enablers. We've got removal with Harness Lightning. We've got Rhythm of the Wilds for haste. I like this. I like it. Opponent plays an island. And come on, mouse. You can do it. They're going to Stone Coil. Okay. So, Pioneer, Stone Coil usually means Izzet or Azorius Scissors. Let's Game Trail. Reveal the Forest. Attune with Aether. Ooh, excuse me. Attune with Aether. We'll go grab a Mountain and pass the turn. They know that we have both in hand, Mountain and a Forest. They don't know about the Stomping Grounds, however. So, Spire of Industry. That still doesn't tell me if it's Boros or... not Boros. Azorius or is it? There's the Insol artifact. We are a bit away from Harness Lightninging that, sadly. Even with the Harness Lightning, that only gets us to 5 energy. That's a Pummeler. I'm going to play a tapped Stomping Grounds. They still know about both of the lands in our hand. Pass the turn. I think our opponent's just going to be too fast here. They got off to a really good start. A 6/6 on turn 2 is really fast, and we don't have removal for it. Okay, so they are Is It. Ghost Fireblade. Yeah, let's scoop it up. Let's not show them anymore. All they saw was a Tune with Aether and some lands. We could have been something else. Okay, so opponent's really, really fast. Let's bring in a Braids and Lava Coil and Cinder Vines. Okay. They don't play a ton of removal, so I'm going to go down the Blossoming Defenses here and 2 Bristles. Really easy cuts. We want to keep all of our combo pieces, and we definitely want to keep our Rhythm of the Wilds, because haste is going to be really important in this match, because we need to be able to get in underneath our opponent, and we're not going to be able to do that without haste. So, they don't play a ton of removal, so let's go down the Blossoming Defenses, and I'm going to go down the Bristles for the same reason, plus Bristles doesn't come down until turn 4. If we have a Servant of the Conduit turn 3, but that's still not good enough. They can have a 6/6 on turn 2, a 4/3 on turn 3 or 4 isn't good enough. So, let's just run out like that. Go down some of the protection and bring in a lot of removal, because they don't play a lot of removal. Yes, we will play first. Pop out Graveyards and Revealed Zone. This hand isn't bad. We actually have threats in this hand, so I will keep this one. 2 Servant of the Conduits. Voltaic Brawler is really good if we can keep it alive. Hopefully our opponent didn't bring in... Hi, Rapid. Hopefully our opponent didn't bring in removal. Sometimes they play like Wild Slashes in the sideboard for removal. I know this deck plays Shrapnel Blast. Let's get a Forest. I know this deck plays Shrapnel Blast. So that is a way that they can use for removal if they want to, but usually Shrapnel Blast is going face to close out the game. But it plays a Darksteel Citadel. And Stone Coil. Okay, so they do have the potential to just win the game next turn with a 6/6 that we can't do anything about. Let's play the Forest that they know about. Get down Voltaic Brawler. Brawler enters the battlefield. We go up to 4 energy. And we will pass the turn. If they have another Insol artifact, we really need to top deck either a Braid or Cinder Vines. Cinder Vines to... okay, so they don't have blue mana, so they can't do it yet. But they can do something if they want to. So, I was going to say, if they did have the Scissors here, then we need to draw a Braid to get rid of the Stone Coil, or Cinder Vines to blow up the Scissors. But they didn't play blue mana, so they couldn't even if they wanted to. So is our opponent going to hold up as a blocker or get in? They're going to get in. Good news here is I think our clock is faster, especially with this Collision Colossus in hand. We can get in for more damage quicker. Okay, so I'm going to start by going to combat and attack. Yes, I will pay. Now, I guess the question is, will our opponent have the Scissors next turn? Because if they do, then we're in trouble. Okay, so let's Long Tusk Cub. Play a Stomping Grounds, tapped, and pass the turn. Whew. Alright. Opponent plays a Ginger Brute. Interesting. They can make this unblockable, but I don't know, like, I mean, surely they have better things to do with that 1 mana here. I mean, if they don't, there's no reason not to, right? But, you know, if they do... Riot's at, like, our Rhythm of the Wilds, Riot is actually really good against Ginger Brute. We can give something haste just so we can block it. Okay, so they're going to run out a Stone Coil Serpent. I imagine that Stone Coil is to be able to block the Brawler. Do they get in for 3? I'd imagine they do, yep. Okay, so they're going to get in with both. Opponent making misplays. Because this is not currently unblockable. They don't have the mana, so whoops, not do that. Let's go to blocks. Take our free block. Gingerbrute is usually unblockable, but you do have to pay to make it unblockable, so we will untap. Lava Coil is good. I'm happy with Lava Coil. Play the land. Let's Servant of the Conduit to put more... to get more energy. Go to combat. And attack. And yes, I will make Brawler a 4-3 with Trample. They do get to block Brawler for free if they want to. They choose not to, though. Okay, so I can 8 the opponent. Yeah, let's do that. They didn't block, so... 8 the opponent, put them down to 8. I can Colossus, put them to 4. No, let's just put them to 8. Not let them know about the Colossus in my hand. And then let's Lava Coil this. Get another body off the battlefield, pass the turn. So, next turn, we do still have 2 energy as well, because Long Tusk Cub made 2 energy. Are they just going to hold back on defense? So, both of these are lethal if they can get in, which is really good for us. Okay, sweet. Cool. Alright, so our sideboarding plan worked. Bring in removal, go down some of our other stuff. I almost want to bring in a Pithing Needle or 2, just for, like, Ghostfire Blade and stuff. Mutavault as well. Okay, let's bring in 2, go down the other 2 Bristles, because I really don't want to get into a position to where we're winning, and then we lose to, like, a Mutavault beats or whatever. Pithing Needle may not be correct, but it shuts off Ghostfire Blade, it shuts off all that. I'm going to keep this hand. It doesn't do anything, except... It doesn't do anything because we just have a bunch of lands, but I have 3 sideboard cards in hand. And 2 of which are removal spells. So, let's see if we can get there. I feel like part of that win last game came from our opponent misplaying. Ooh, opponent mulliganed to 5 at least. That can't be good that our opponent went so far on cards. Opponent plays a mountain. Gingerbrute. Okay, so... Yep, let's F8. So am I more worried about Ghostfire Blade? I think I am worried about Ghostfire Blade, because I can just abrade this Gingerbrute if they try to go in on it. So... let's play the Forest, and I'm going to go ahead and Pithing Needle. Name Ghostfire Blade. Ghostfire Blade. And pass the turn. Because Ghostfire Blade is really good in our opponent's deck, because it could make this Gingerbrute really big. I'm really hoping they Ensoul Artifact here, so I can just abrade this Gingerbrute when I untap. Please let that be what it is. Yes! Our opponent also mulliganed down to 5, so they only have 2 cards in hand, so I imagine it'll be pretty difficult for them to rebuild from this as well. So we untap. We will play the Mountain, and we will... abrade, destroy target artifact. Pass the turn to the opponent. And having Pith Needle on Ghostfire Blade means that they can't just try and kill us that way. With like turning on a Mutavault or whatever and start attacking him with a Ghostfire Blade. Like if they stick a creature in a Ghostfire Blade. My point is, Pithing Needle on Ghostfire Blade is hopefully going to be really good for us in the long term. So, I will play the Forest and then Cinder Vines. Just to show them that we have more removal, and so they can concede if they'd like to. And then next turn, I'll get down Long Tusk Cub as a threat. We don't have any energy, but Long Tusk Cub does fuel itself whenever it deals combat damage, so... Blue-red shouldn't have a way to hard kill. Our opponent Ensoul artifacts our Pithing Needle to give us a 5/5. Wow. Thanks, opponent. Appreciate the threat. We didn't have one, but now we do. Let's go to combat. Attack for 5. I think our opponent has accepted that they've lost this game. Or at least they're relatively close to losing this game. So let's get down to Long Tusk Cub. We don't have a combo. We don't have any of our combo pieces going on, so let's just get down to Long Tusk Cub. Steam Vents tapped past the turn. My cat is still knocking things over after repeatedly being told not to. We could have also played the Electrostatic Pummeler and seen if our opponent would have been nice enough to Ensoul Artifact on our Pummeler. Make it a 5/5 for us as well. Do they have a third Ensoul Artifact to make their Stone Coil a 6/6? It looks like they... What are they, Shrapnel? They're going to Shrapnel Blast. Alright, so this doesn't do what our opponent thinks it does because we can just do this. We do deal 2 damage to ourselves. No, we don't, because it's our opponent controls. Oh, man. Our poor opponent. And it turns it off, so it's not a creature anymore. So it doesn't take damage to the Shrapnel Blast. Oh, man. Our poor opponent. And we drew another Pummeler. Let's go to combat. Sadly, that does mean that we lost a creature, and we lost our Cinder Vines to be able to get in for damage. Okay, sweet! It didn't matter. Opponent scoops it up. Sweet, sweet, sweet. We didn't get to combo kill our opponent that game, but we did get to do a lot of cool stuff, and I'm very happy with that game. This last match here, actually, it gave me a pretty good laugh. Our opponent Ensoul Artifacted our Pithing Needle so they could Shrapnel Blast it the next turn. But they ended up taking 7 total damage from it because we got to attack with a 5/5. Oh, man. I guess our opponent really wanted their Ghostfire Blade there. Anyway, GG's opponent. Toxic Edge, our opponent. Welcome to Match 4 with Gruul Pummeler. So far, we're doing very well. I'm very happy with this deck. It's performing so much better than I thought it would. I'm going to keep this hand. We only have 1 land, but Attune with Aether is technically a second land. Darksteel Citadel. That usually means that it is an Auras deck. Let's Aether Hub. And we drew the Mountain, so that gives us another land as well. Add green, Attune with Aether. Go get a Forest and pass the turn. Pop out Graveyard and Revealed Zone. Spire of Industry. That does tap for any color, so that's a dual land at the moment. Sure. So we are playing against Scissors again. Different opponent, however. So let's play the Forest that our opponent knows about. And let's get down Servant of the Conduit. Go up to 4 energy. Like I mentioned earlier in the last match, this deck doesn't play a ton of removal. And they weren't attacking for 5 on turn 2. They just had a turn 2 5/5. Which is easier for us to deal with than them constantly attacking with it. So, opponent gets in. We will... no blocks. So, we'll take the 5. If we can find a... okay, Springleaf Drum. Opponent passes. Blossoming Defense isn't bad. That means that we get to protect our Pummeler with Servant of the Conduit. Go up to 7 energy past the turn. So, we have Blossoming Defense to protect our Pummeler this turn. So if we draw Collision Colossus off the top, we win the game. Opponent, presumably just going to get in for 5. Yep, gets in for 5. I wonder if we can just win the game naturally here. Let's untap. Bristling Hydra. Okay, so we can harness lightning. That's 6 additional energy. That puts us up to 13. So we can double 4 times. Blossoming Defense will make this a 3/3. So 3 doubled to 6, 6 doubled to 12, 12 doubled to 24. So we only need 3. Okay, so let's harness lightning. I'm going to harness lightning the Citadel, so we don't accidentally kill our Pummeler. Deal 0 damage to it, just for the 3 energy. Then, Blossoming Defense to 3 power. 3 doubled to 6. 6 doubled to 12. 12 doubled to 24. And that's only 3 activations. Blossoming Defense. Double. 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 Attack for 26 on turn 4. Opponent. Ah! We got there! Oh man, that was so good. That's another reason why I love Blossoming Defense, because it's just a backup Collision Colossus, apparently. We'll do the same sideboard plan as last game. Let's bring in 2 Pithing Needles, 2 Needles, 2 Cinder Vines, 2 Abrades, and 2 Lava Coils. Go down the protection stuff because we don't need it in this matchup. Like I mentioned in the last game, this deck doesn't play a ton of removal. If they do, it's Shrapnel Blast. So we're just going to take out our protection, bring in a ton of removal, because we don't need our protection in this matchup. I'm going to keep this hand. Electrostatic Pummeler is a really good card. I'm keeping this hand because we have two Lava Coils. We have Voltaic Brawler as a threat. Drowned Catacombs. Are they Grixis Pummeler? What are they? What's their third? Okay, so usually these Pummeler decks are or not? Usually these Let's start with the game trail tapped and pass the turn. So usually these Scissors decks, they are Interestingly, our opponent is Dimir. Opponent throwing that 180 at us. Let's Voltaic Brawler. So, opponent threw us off guard. I thought they were but instead they are Dimir. They could be Grixis, though, although Castle Lochwain doesn't signify that. If they're playing black for anything, it's just a splash. 2 mana, Prophetic Prism. What are they doing? What? I'm so confused now. Are they a Tezzeret deck? Are they playing Tezzerator? Let's Rootbound Crag. And Rhythm of the Wilds. This makes our stuff uncounterable and gives it haste. We will, yes, do the thing. Hit our opponent for 4. Opponent also missed their second land drop, which is interesting. Guild Globe. I don't know what our opponent's doing. If this is our opponent's plan, we definitely didn't sideboard correctly. Well, let's play Aether Hub. Get 2 more energy. Play another Voltaic Brawler. And give it haste. Get 2 more energy. Go to combat. Attack for 8. Trampling. Fatal Push. Nope. Attack for 8. They're going to wait until after we pay the energy. I mean, I'm going to do it. So. Yep. Alright. Then I don't have anything else to do, so I'm just going to pass the turn. Yep. Fatal Push. Yup. Okay. So they're a lot different than we thought. If we go to a game 3, which likely we will, opponent still has 6 cards in hand, and they... Anyway, if we do go to a game 3, Springleaf Drum, then I'm going to redo our sideboarding. I'm going to bring back in the Bristling Hydras, and maybe a Blossoming Defense or two. Go down the Lava Coils, go down the... probably the Pithing Needles. I don't think Pithing Needles worth it in this matchup. So... Let's go to combat. I'm going to play Electrostatic Pummeler post-combat. And, Fatal Push now? I mean, they have another one, so, yep. Okay. Well, I'm not going to pay the energy this time. No pay the energy. And let's get down Pummeler. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. +1/+1 counter. There we go. Mouse finally decided to work. We will get 3 energy. Pass the turn. Sure. You can Ensoul Artifact your Springleaf Drum. That's a really good blocker, I'd imagine. I can't imagine a world where they're attacking. Okay, they're going to attack. Sure. No blocks. I really hope my opponent is just on the Fatal Push again plan. We will untap. Longtusk Cub isn't bad. Play the Forest. Let's Longtusk Cub. And give it haste. Go to combat. Let's attack. Longtusk Cub deals damage. We will yield to all energy abilities. Then, let's, disappointingly, I'm going to have to double Lava Coil the Springleaf Drum to get it off the battlefield. This is annoying, having to use 2 of our removal spells here, but whatever. Pass the turn. Opponent. Another Fatal Push? No! Alright, we triggered Revolt. Sure. Alright. Good news, however, we do have Longtusk Cub in play, so we do have a backup plan. Unless they just have the 4th Fatal Push in their 14 cards of their deck. Another Ensoul Artifact, maybe? Yep, just another Ensoul Artifact. Okay, so it looks like our opponent... They're just playing kind of a jankier version of Scissors. They're playing less creature artifacts like Ginger Brute and Stone Coil, and playing more non-creature artifacts to play around different various removal spells. We will untap. Another Pummeler is really good. Really good. Let's play another Pummeler. Give it haste. Go to combat. Our opponent conceded. I don't think that was game. So, oh right, we got 3 energy. So we can double 3 times. So we double to 2, double to 4, double to 8. Okay, yeah, so that was game. GG. Alright, so, we did have game there. It was very fortunate that we top decked another Pummeler. Rhythm of the Wilds is definitely proving itself. I was skeptical at first, but I'm very happy to have this in the deck. Yeah, we're doing really well. Currently 4-0. My God. All right, 5th and final match with Gruul Pummeler in Pioneer. This hand's okay. We don't have any real enablers, but we have 3 really solid creatures. I'm gonna keep this hand. It's kind of meh, but we have turn 2 Pummeler into turn 3, or we have turn 2 Brawler into turn 3 Pummeler, which will get us up to 6 energy off of, ooh, green-black. Okay, Elvish Mystic. Elvish Mystic is better than Thoughtseize. It's still annoying, but not as bad as Thoughtseize. My keyboard's not working, so it won't let me F8. Okay, so let's Stomping Grounds, tapped, pass the turn. Whew. Alright, so I've been very impressed with this deck so far, honestly. We have been crushing it. Opponent appears to be... Ooh, they missed their land drop. That's pretty good. Play the land. Let's get down the Brawler. Pass the turn. Let's see what the opponent does here. Okay, Beast Caller Savant. That does add mana. They're going to pass. We will untap. Servant of the Conduit's also not bad. Let's attack for... Yeah, I'm going to get an attack for 3. Attack for 4, because I will give it trample. Opponent decides to not block, so opponent takes the damage. Let's Aether Hub, make another energy. And I think... Yeah, let's get down Bristles. Not Bristles, Pummeler. Let's get down Pummeler. Pass the turn. If we draw Collision Colossus next turn, we just win. Because I can play Servant to go up to 7 energy, and then I can double on Pummeler on turn 4. Opponent did finally hit their land drop, which is pretty convenient for them. We untap. We don't draw it, sadly. Let's play the land. Let's go to combat and attack. I'm going to attack with both. I don't mind Pummeler dying here because I just have another one. And so I'm going to see if opponent is willing to trade one of their creatures. Most likely. Maybe they'll... Okay. So, yeah, that's fine. I'll let that happen. Because I'm just going to play a Bristles. I offered the opponent a trade, they took the trade, and I will pass the turn. I feel like they're going to have a more difficult time answering Bristling Hydra than they will the Pummeler. Opponent plays Beast Whisperer. Opponent's not doing that badly for somebody who missed their first, what, 2 land drops? Like, they had their first one and they missed the next 2, so... Dwynen's Elite draws them 1 card, because this is a cast trigger, not an ETB trigger. Okay, opponent passes. Let's untap. Not another land, please. Harness Lightning is really good. So I guess the question is, are we going to Harness Lightning this Marwyn or the Beast Whisperer? Let's run out another Pummeler. Go up to 10 energy. And then I think I'm going to get rid of the Beast Whisperer. That's the bigger problem, I think. Deal only 3 to it. And let's go to combat. I will attack for 4, force the opponent to block if they want to. I'm surprised they haven't used this Beast Caller Savant mana for anything, because it can only tap to add... sure. Okay, so they're going to double block to get Dwynen's Elite off the battlefield. Or to get Voltaic Brawler off the battlefield. And I will pass the turn. So now they have to deal with Bristling Hydra, which I can give Hexproof, and Pummeler. So they have another Beast Whisperer. That's not something I wanted to see. They have 6 mana here. Yeah. Okay, so they're just going to kind of storm off. Let's auto-yield to this Beast Whisperer trigger. Yep. So they get to draw another card here. Thankfully, there isn't anything like Craterhoof in the format. So they can't just combo off up to Craterhoof. There is Decimator of Provinces, but... Gnarl Root Trapper. Okay. There is Decimator of Provinces, but I'm less afraid of Decimator than I am, Craterhoof. Opponent is amassing a pretty decent board here, so they're just going to pass. Okay, so I think they bricked. Let's untap. Another land isn't what I wanted to see. Let's go to combat. I will attack with Bristles and offer them to see if they want to try and kill it. Because I have the energy to pump it 3 times to keep it alive. Nope, they're just going to jump. Sure. Alright, let's serve into the conduit. Make more energy, go to 11. Long Tusk Cub. Pass the turn. Alright, so I am going to need to deal with this Morrowind eventually. Llanowar Elves draws them another card. Yep. I wish I could F6, but I need to hold up the ability to activate Bristles if I need to. Okay, that's a thing. Am I dead here? Because this gives their entire board +2/+2. So I need to chump Morrowind. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so they're just going to tap Morrowind. Sylvan Messenger. And opponent's storming off over here. I feel like they should have just attacked and tried to kill me, but... Ugh, they hit another one. Get rid of those. Get rid of the Quarter Calling. Yeah, this is not good. This is +4/+4. Pretty sure I'm just dead here. Wow. Okay. Opponent doing stuff. Are they going to cast it this turn, or are they going to wait until next turn? Because if they cast it this turn, that's, they can still cast it this turn, because they have this Beast Caller Savant. Yep. Okay, so they're not going to cast it this turn. Do they attack? Probably not. They do. Well... I'd say I need to draw Collision Colossus this exact turn, or I'm dead. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I will take the 10, go to 10. Let's untap. Collision Colossus right now. Ah, we didn't draw it. Okay. Sure. Alright, opponent just has game here. They can play this, and then their entire board gets +4/+4, because they have the other one in play. They trigger off of each other, +4/+4. Entire team swings in. That's not something I can beat. So let's bring in Abrades, Lava Coil, not Fries, Lava Coil, and Morrowind or Pithing Needle doesn't stop Morrowind. Cinder Vines doesn't do anything. I don't know if I want anything else. Let's just bring in that. Go down the Blossoming Defenses. Swap out protection for removal, because we don't really need protection against mostly mono green. They probably have like Fatal Pushes and Thought Seizes in the sideboard, maybe Abrupt Decays, but can't keep Zero-lander. I really don't want to keep the 4-lander that doesn't do anything. So we're going to mulligan again. Digging for a hand that does more. I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to get rid of... Colossus Long Tusk Cub. I wish I had another land, but we don't. Pass the turn. If we draw another land, then we have 2 Harness Lightnings, and we have the combo. So that's always a plus, having Pummeler and Collision Colossus in hand. Though if we just get Thoughtseized here, we're in trouble. Thoughtseize, yup. Well, I don't think we're going to get the 5-0 here. Because, yep, takes the Pummeler. Keeps us with the removal, though. We did draw the land, which is good. We can't just outright win the game, though, because they were able to Thoughtseize our Pummeler. Let's get rid of this. Just up and kill it. Yep. That's probably not correct, because we only have so much removal. Wow, and we went runner. So if they didn't Thoughtseize us, we could potentially be winning the game next turn. But we're not. Wow, they get to Thoughtseize us again. Probably takes Harness Lightning. Yep, takes Harness Lightning. Yep. I don't think we're winning this one. Visionary. Well, attune with Aether. We'll go get a mountain. Play the mountain, pass the turn. They leave us with a useless pump spell that doesn't do anything. And I think our 5-0 dream is slipping away because our opponent had Thoughtseizes. That is disappointing that our opponent had all that. Marwyn. That is a creature I'd like to kill, but I sadly cannot. Yep, I'm going to F6 because I can't do anything. We draw a Servant of the Conduit. Not a horrible draw, but not the best. This hand had so much potential to just win the game on turn 3, or on turn 4-2. It was disappointing that it's going to end like this. Sylvan Messenger. Yup. Wow, only one card. So they do have Abrupt Decays, they do have Thoughtseizes, like they do have a lot of cards out of the sideboard that they got to bring in. So I imagined our opponent would have a lot of sideboard stuff for us. We are a combo deck at its heart and an aggro deck second. So being able to get rid of our Pummeler was kind of annoying, and then we just haven't drawn any of our backup stuff. We haven't seen Voltaic Brawlers to any degree. We haven't seen Long Tusk Cub. There's a Long Tusk Cub. We just haven't seen anything that would make this game matter. And everything we draw, we're playing, so they know that we just have this Collision Colossus in hand, so... Opponent presumably just gets in for a bit here. I'm not going to block that. I could block and then pump the Long Tusk Cub with energy, but our opponent's playing Elves. They most likely have a way to keep it. We will untap. I'm going to hold on to that forest. Pass the turn. Good news. We're still in this game, so it's not like we're doing a bad job. Our opponent does have only one card in hand. We will eventually draw something worthwhile, like a Voltaic Brawler. Like Rhythm of the Wilds would be really good. Opponent continues to get in. I'm going to do it this time. Block. Block. Pump it. Block your 2-2 with my 3-3. We will untap. Ugh, more lands. Stomping Grounds tapped. I mean, I'm just going to pass the turn here. Another Sylvan Messenger. Please draw 1 or 0. 0 would be best. That last one they did only drew them 1 card. Oh, it drew them 2 cards. Gnarl Root Trapper, Shaman of the Pack. They can cast both this turn as well. Yep, Trapper. I tried a green-black Elves deck a while back, and it didn't do this. Shaman of the Pack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Puts us down to 9. Yep. We'll go to 9. And opponent continues to just stay back on defense. We will untap. Aether Hub makes energy. I don't think it does anything, though. Yep, we'll yield. Pass the turn. No attacks. We are getting to the point where we just have to chump block our opponent every single turn. Like, if they just start attacking with his Morrowind now, we have to chump block every turn, and we're just getting to a point where we can't stay alive. That is a Coco. If that hits a Shaman of the Pack, we're just dead. And it didn't, but it does hit several really good things. Llanowar Elves, Dwynen's Elite. So... Yep, opponent is amassing a bit of a board. I don't think there's any reason for them not to attack with Morrowind here. Like, they might as well. Okay, so let's grow Long Tusk Cub. Go to block there, block there, block there. Take 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to 4. And I mean, I presume we're just dead. Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna scoop it up. I'll keep playing just because the game technically isn't over yet. But we are just dead. Let's untap. We effectively just drew another land. Get a forest. Play the forest. And yeah, let's scoop it up. GG's, opponent. GG. Alright, so what did we learn today about Gruul Pummeler in Pioneer? And honestly, I was super impressed. We went 4-1 with what I thought was just a big pile of jank. We did very well. That last game, super disappointing against Golgari Elves. Game 2, we just went from 6 lands into no action. We just had pump spells, and that's not going to end the game. And then we mulliganed to 5 with 1 land. We had the combo, like we had Collision Colossus, Electrostatic Pummeler, 2 Harness Lightnings in hand, but then our opponent had 2 Thoughtseizes and got rid of our removal spell and our Pummeler, so we couldn't win the game. Opponent just had all the right cards, and we had to mulligan to 5, so we weren't very well in a position to win. So I'm upset. I'm disappointed we lost that last game, but overall, I was impressed that we just went straight 4-1. Like, that was a really, really strong. I loved it. I had fun. And a lot of our wins came from Electrostatic Pummeler Collision Colossus. Like, this is a legitimately threat thing. Like, this is a threatening thing that can just happen. Like, especially Rhythm of the Wilds, Pummeler can just come down and the game can be over. 20 damage as early as turn 4 is really scary for a lot of decks. And, like, especially against, like, that Boros Prison deck, Boros Planeswalkers, Boros Super Friends, Boros Control, whatever you want to call it, in match 2, where our opponent had gained 4 life with Birth of Meletuses, and then had 2 0/4s to block. So our combo deals 20 damage, and they had effectively gained 4, 8... They had effectively gained 12 life, going up to 32. So that's really strong, really difficult for us to actually deal with, is like life gain and blockers, because our removal is more geared for, like, you know, threats. But whatever, we got there. Those silences in a game 2 are actually also really good. Although we got there with our little tech of Harness Lightning our own creature, and then Blossoming Defensing it to make it a 3/3 to be able to just punch in for the rest of the damage. So we did get there against Boros. We went 4-1, winning record, really strong. Another thing I want to mention, now that this deck actually performed well, this is relatively budget. It's only like $100 in paper, and most of that is for Stomping Grounds. Excuse me. The rest of this deck is super cheap. Clothis is a few dollars because it's played in Modern and Legacy. Pithing Needle is a couple dollars because it's same reason. It's also played in Vintage with like workshops and stuff. But most of this deck is really cheap because most of these cards are relatively bad outside of this archetype, like air quotes around bad, because Attune with Aether isn't a card you play outside of energy, like it just doesn't see play. Voltaic Brawler only sees play in energy. Servant, there's better mana dorks unless you're playing energy. Long Tusk Cub, same reason, it only works with energy. Bristling Hydra only works with energy. This entire deck is only good with itself. So none of the pieces are in high demand in other decks. Rhythm of the Wilds doesn't see play anywhere. Collision Colossus doesn't see play anywhere. Electrostatic Pummeler definitely doesn't see play anywhere. Blossoming Defense is the only card that sees relative play in other formats and other decks, and that's because it's played in Infect and Modern and other Go Tall decks that are trying to deal a massive amount of damage off of just one single creature. So Blossoming Defense is really important in those strategies, but other than that, it's not played at all. It's like $2 or $3, but that's it. The primary price of this deck is the 4 Stomping Grounds, and if you've got like a budget land, like it's worse, but you have like Sheltered Thicket, the Cycle land from Amonkhet, or you have whatever it is, the Tango land from Battle for Zendikar, that will also fill this role nicely. The main reason that I suggest those two specifically is because we do have these 2 Rootbound Crags, we do have Game Trails, we want those to be able to enter untapped as often as possible, and so it is nice to be able to replace Stomping Grounds if you have to replace them with another land that has the basic land types of Mountain Forest, so that way Game Trail and Stomping Grounds enter untapped more often. But other than that, like other than Stomping Grounds, this deck is super cheap, like $50 maybe, and it's really strong. I had a ton of fun. We went 4-0, or we went 4-1, sorry, and we had fun. I had a blast. I had a ton of fun hitting people for 20 plus damage with Trample on turn 4. We had fun. I hope you had fun. Before we go, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, get notified whenever we have a new video go up, and I will talk to you guys later.